this whole... You guys have no idea how helpful it is to have all of you in my life, because you help me feel even more deeply connected to my husband. And I thank you for that. I thank all of you for that.
Let everyone see what true evil looks like. That's how it all began, with a tone that carried both disbelief and anger. What seemed at first like a strange internet rumor quickly spiraled into something darker. Something that people believed could impact not only one generation but those to come. The story surrounding Erica Kirk, now known across the internet as the so-called Israeli honeypot, took a more sinister turn than anyone could have imagined. The symbols, the gestures, the tone. Everything began to be interpreted in ways that fueled growing suspicion. "Up the devil horns," one person said in shock. "I don't even know what to say." That sense of confusion spread fast, filling every social media feed with debates, analysis, and outrage. The narrative being formed around Erica Kirk painted her as a mysterious operative. People called her a spook, a plant, someone embedded within political circles with hidden motives. Those who followed the unfolding drama claimed this was no longer a theory but an established fact. They said she had been shopping around for a political husband, searching through circles of influence until she found one: Charlie Kirk. According to the voices echoing online, she wasn't who she claimed to be. Old clips began to surface. Videos of her appearing in music videos, reality television shows, and social events. Rumors spread that she had dated others involved in the conservative movement. To many observers, it began to seem that her public image had been carefully built, piece by piece, to serve a hidden purpose. Inside sources from her own organization began to speak up, alleging connections to three-letter intelligence agencies. They claimed that under Erica's leadership, Turning Point USA had quietly become infiltrated by operatives and handlers who shaped narratives and influenced outcomes. According to these insiders, this transformation hadn't happened overnight. It had been a long time coming. They insisted that the groundwork was laid years earlier, that the organization's corridors had been filled with people serving quiet, unseen agendas. In their telling, Erica wasn't an accidental leader. She was part of a larger, calculated plan. Then came the image. A single photo that triggered a media storm. What might have been an ordinary picture for most became the catalyst for conspiracy theories. Many no longer saw coincidence. They saw strategy. Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes added fuel to the fire by leaving brief but charged comments online. Within hours, their words ignited a nationwide conversation. Erica Kirk was suddenly everywhere, her name attached to whispers, theories, and endless attempts to connect unconnected dots. Some insiders insisted that intelligence operatives had taken control of the organization through her, while others thought she was just being unfairly targeted. Meanwhile, the behavior that followed only deepened the sense of distrust. Observers accused her of manipulating the public through emotion, using her husband's tragic death to elicit sympathy and, soon after, to ask for donations. People claimed that almost immediately after emotional speeches and social media posts, emails and text messages requesting financial support started to appear from every possible direction. To critics, it felt like exploitation, a calculated campaign wrapped in grief. The sense of unease grew stronger as more people noticed how seamlessly her tragedy was turning into a marketing engine. Different voices across platforms added their own interpretations. Some called her a mysterious figure, someone who deliberately stayed in the shadows, while others argued she was being framed and was simply the victim of a large-scale hoax. But speculation didn't slow down. It accelerated. The more her silence persisted, the more room there was for people to invent explanations. Soon, the conversation took on a rhythm of accusation and defense, looping endlessly as new evidence appeared. Even as the rumors expanded, Erica Kirk continued to present herself in public settings with an almost unsettling calm. Her demeanor during appearances and speeches gave critics more ammunition. "Wasn't your husband just executed a few weeks ago?" one commentator asked. They pointed to her energy, her bright tone, and even her apparent joy as proof of insincerity. The question lingered. How could someone who had just faced such tragedy appear so composed? To those watching closely, this composure was not seen as strength but as something artificial. A mask that didn't fit the moment. In podcasts and live streams, her critics repeated the same claims again and again. They said she was a plant, a spy, an actress performing a role written for her. They mocked her past interviews and dissected her words for hidden meanings. One particular moment that circulated widely involved her speaking affectionately about her husband on a podcast, saying she couldn't focus when he was in the room because he was too handsome. Viewers labeled it bad acting, arguing it didn't feel genuine. For many, that short clip became symbolic of the whole story. A woman pretending, reciting lines rather than living them. Commentators speculated endlessly about her marriage, calling it a political arrangement rather than a love story. Some even suggested that Charlie Kirk's death was part of a transition plan, paving the way for Erica to step into power. The tone of the discussion turned colder, more conspiratorial. A political marriage, they called it. An alliance between two operatives designed to control a narrative. They claimed she was now taking over his responsibilities, becoming the face of the organization he once led. As Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes continued to speak publicly, their remarks reshaped the entire online discourse. Candace implied that the pressure surrounding Charlie Kirk came not from external enemies but from those closest to him. Nick went further, questioning Erica's silence and her sudden return to the public eye. Their comments implied that her composure wasn't natural but calculated. The suggestion that her marriage was more strategic than emotional gained traction. People began to see every photo and every video as potential proof of manipulation. In the days following the funeral, the speculation reached fever pitch. Observers scrutinized the memorial event, the fireworks, the photographs, the poised manner in which Erica stood by the casket. For many, these details didn't reflect grief but a kind of performance. The smile, the perfect posture, the confident stance, they all seemed rehearsed, too composed to be spontaneous. Critics called it a media show disguised as mourning. Supporters said the public was being cruel, refusing to understand that everyone processes loss differently. Still, the perception of performance stuck. Each image became evidence. Her gestures were labeled symbolic. Her stillness was called eerie. Viewers argued about whether it was fair to interpret her demeanor, but the viral clips kept spreading. With every share, the mystery deepened, and the audience's curiosity only intensified. The entire situation began to look less like a tragedy and more like a stage-managed drama, unfolding in real time before millions of onlookers who couldn't decide whether they were witnessing manipulation or misunderstanding. By this point, the Erica Kirk story had evolved into something larger than its subject. It became a reflection of how suspicion, grief, and social media intertwine, where every silence, every movement, every facial expression is dissected as evidence. The audience, hungry for meaning, didn't wait for proof. The narrative had already been decided in the court of online opinion. And with each passing hour, the legend of Erica Kirk, spook, widow or puppet master, grew louder, darker, and harder to escape. The controversy surrounding Erica Kirk deepened when a video began to circulate, showing her briefly raising her hand in what many interpreted as a strange and deliberate symbol. What might have been an ordinary gesture for some instantly became a point of obsession for others. Some claimed it was just a natural movement, while others insisted it carried a coded meaning. The internet reacted with intensity. Viewers replayed the clip repeatedly, slowed it down, analyzed each frame, and came to wildly different conclusions. One person said they couldn't believe their eyes and sent it to a friend immediately, swearing it was real and meaningful. Thousands followed, resharing the same footage and offering their own interpretations. For a portion of the audience, it was just coincidence. For others, it was a signal, evidence of something orchestrated and dark. That short video reignited the storm. Online discussions multiplied, not just about what she had done, but about why she had done it. If someone had just lost their partner in a violent tragedy, people asked, would they stand before cameras, smile, and raise a hand so deliberately? The question lingered and spread through social networks, podcasts, and media commentary. People were torn between empathy and suspicion. It was no longer about grief. It had become about performance, optics, and manipulation. The situation escalated when Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes returned to the conversation with new remarks. Their influence meant that even brief comments could reshape the entire public mood. The tension in their words was not simply about Erica's silence but about how controlled and precise that silence appeared. Observers said she was not just avoiding questions. She was managing perception. Candace and Nick implied that her public restraint wasn't natural sorrow but a calculated strategy. Within hours, social media's tone shifted again. Candace Owens, known for being unapologetically direct, dissected inconsistencies surrounding the tragedy. She said openly that it was these inconsistencies that kept the public questioning. According to her, the more Erica remained silent, the more theories would grow. When Candace spoke about Charlie's death and the people closest to him, she did so with precision. Her message carried the unspoken implication that something behind the scenes wasn't right. When she declared that if she were in the same position, she would spend more time mourning than returning to work after just a few days, the statement exploded online. Thousands retweeted and shared it, interpreting it as a veiled critique of Erica. Some people agreed wholeheartedly, saying Candace was simply expressing what everyone else felt but was afraid to voice. Others thought she had gone too far, accusing her of exploiting another woman's grief for engagement. Regardless of intention, the effect was undeniable. Candace's comment transformed private whispers into public debate. Every word she spoke was dissected, analyzed, and replayed on every major social platform. Her tone, her choice of words, and her timing all seemed intentional, and the audience responded exactly as predicted. Candace had not named Erica directly, but the meaning was unmistakable. Then came Nick Fuentes, whose approach was the opposite of subtle. Where Candace hinted, Nick was explicit. He tore into the narrative with explosive energy, describing the situation as a calculated performance and labeling Erica's marriage as political theater. He declared openly that Kirk's relationship had been an arranged marriage between two operatives and suggested that Charlie's death simply accelerated an existing plan. His boldness electrified his followers and horrified his critics. Social media platforms flooded with debates, reaction videos, and endless speculation. What Candace had started as a spark, Nick turned into a full-blown wildfire. The combination of their voices, Candace's controlled precision and Nick's blunt accusations, reshaped the internet's atmosphere entirely. TikTok was overrun with collages and theories. Twitter, now X, filled with threads dissecting timelines and motivations. YouTube channels uploaded endless reaction clips, each one more emotional and dramatic than the last. The debate was no longer rational. It was raw, fueled by outrage and curiosity. The audience was no longer observing the story. They were participating in it, picking sides, and contributing to the storm. Meanwhile, the public started revisiting details that had once seemed insignificant. They examined the memorial service again. The fireworks, the photo sessions, the immaculate hair and makeup. Each detail became a piece of supposed evidence. The perception was that everything had been planned to perfection. Critics described it as a media event disguised as mourning. To them, the carefully choreographed images reflected not grief but control. Supporters countered by saying that everyone grieves differently and that composure doesn't mean coldness. But by then, the internet's collective judgment had already taken shape. The questions multiplied. Why was Erica's tone so calm? Why did her eyes not show visible pain? Why were her words so polished, as if rehearsed? Every movement was analyzed in search of inconsistency. Her silence, rather than calming the storm, added to it. The more she refused to respond directly, the more people filled the void with their own interpretations. What once might have been considered dignity was now being labeled as detachment. Her calm became suspicious. Her professionalism became a mask. Amid all this, Candace Owens revisited the story with a new angle. She referenced a previously unseen clip from Shayna, one of Charlie's close acquaintances, who had recorded footage retracing the shooter's steps. In the video, Shayna's aunt mentioned that there had been a woman helping the shooter, though she wasn't sure if that woman was an accomplice. The clip had been removed from the internet, but Candace managed to retrieve it and share it again, saying that people had missed something crucial. Her direct tone reignited speculation that someone close to the victim might have been involved. Even though Candace didn't point fingers, the implication hung heavy in the air. That moment pushed the story into even darker territory. Viewers were no longer just debating grief or media strategy. They were now implying conspiracy. Candace continued, saying that such inconsistencies were exactly why people couldn't stop asking questions. The narrative took on the shape of a thriller, complete with unseen motives, secret alliances, and possible cover-ups. And because the internet thrives on mystery, this theory spread faster than any factual correction could catch up. Then Erica reappeared publicly for the first time after weeks of silence. Her return wasn't casual or understated. It was calculated, polished, and immediately polarizing. She stood before the audience with flawless posture and clear diction. Her voice was even, her words deliberate. "No one will ever replace my husband," she said, "but I do see some similarities between my husband and Vice President JD, and that's why I am so blessed to introduce him tonight." The statement should have been simple, but it sounded too perfect. For many, it didn't feel like a grieving widow speaking. It felt like a public figure managing optics. The internet's reaction was instantaneous and divided. Half of the viewers praised her for composure, calling her strong and dignified. The other half called her cold, detached, and emotionless. Within hours, the video dominated every platform. Debates over her tone, her facial expressions, and even her breathing filled comment sections. The line between empathy and suspicion disappeared. People argued endlessly over whether her calmness reflected grace or guilt. Podcasters and commentators began analyzing her every appearance, turning short clips into long discussions about authenticity, grief, and manipulation. Supporters said she was doing her best to survive a public tragedy. Critics said she was orchestrating her comeback. Regardless of perspective, everyone agreed on one thing. Erica's return didn't end the controversy. It made it even bigger. Her video became the perfect catalyst for new waves of speculation, transforming a story of loss into an unending cultural phenomenon. The discussions no longer centered on facts. They had become a mirror of online emotion, a collective need to decode everything. People watched not because they wanted truth but because they wanted meaning. Erica's story was no longer about her at all. It had become about everyone's desire to understand what they didn't. Each new post, each reaction video, each whispered theory only expanded the myth. Whether seen as a villain or a victim, Erica Kirk had become a symbol of the modern internet's hunger for narrative. As the controversy around Erica Kirk grew, her story shifted from a private tragedy into a public obsession. What began as mourning became a spectacle that millions followed. Every gesture, word, and silence turned into a clue for those convinced there was more beneath the surface. Privacy was mistaken for strategy, emotion for performance. In the following weeks, Erica's every appearance, speeches, interviews, even photos, was dissected online. Critics said her composure was unnatural, her tone too measured, her language rehearsed. Supporters saw strength and dignity. But nuance rarely survives online. To the digital crowd, every calm breath seemed calculated, every show of grace, manipulation. Clips of her circulated endlessly. Users slowed them down frame by frame, searching for tells, coded hand signals, forced smiles, or fleeting expressions. Commentators built entire podcasts and YouTube channels dedicated to decoding her supposed symbolism. What was once simple grief became a televised mystery. The audience wasn't empathizing. It was investigating. Her image began to fracture. Journalists called her unervingly composed. They analyzed her wardrobe, dark colors, minimal jewelry, tailored restraint, as if each choice held hidden intent. Soon she was labeled the controlled widow. Admirers saw resilience. Detractors saw emotional theater. Either way, her image no longer belonged to her. Attention soon turned toward Turning Point USA, once led by her late husband, Charlie Kirk. Reports of internal changes sparked speculation that Erica was quietly consolidating influence. Anonymous insiders fueled theories that she was guiding the organization's new direction. Others dismissed it as normal restructuring, but the internet no longer accepted ordinary explanations. Every rumor became confirmation of a larger plan. People began connecting her public poise to her earlier career in entertainment. Old clips resurfaced, interviews, stage performances, and photos, reinterpreted as evidence that she had always been performing. Conspiracy theorists painted her as a figure molded for influence, claiming she'd been groomed to shape perception. There was no proof, but that hardly mattered. The story was too captivating to question. Figures like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes kept the narrative alive. Candace, through her sharp commentary, questioned the performance of grief, speaking in metaphors that audiences immediately tied to Erica. Her remarks about strategic mourning became viral soundbites. Each subtle jab rekindled public debate. Nick Fuentes went further, alleging that Erica's marriage had been politically arranged, and that Charlie's death had merely advanced an orchestrated plan. His fiery, unverified claims spread fast, echoed across social media echo chambers. Between Candace's insinuations and Nick's provocations, a collective belief took root. Erica wasn't mourning, she was managing an image. Then came her highly anticipated reappearance. Dressed impeccably, calm but confident, Erica addressed a public gathering. "No one will ever replace my husband," she said softly, "but I see similarities between my husband and Vice President JD, and I feel blessed to introduce him tonight." Her composure drew both admiration and suspicion. Viewers replayed the clip obsessively. To some, she was graceful. To others, mechanical. The same words that comforted one audience offended another. Online reactions split sharply. Half praised her dignity under scrutiny. The rest accused her of calculated emotion. Comment threads filled with amateur psychoanalysis. People compared her current tone to past interviews, looking for inconsistencies that might betray guilt. For days, her short appearance dominated news cycles. Even unrelated stories were filtered through her image, her supposed motives, her performance. Soon, the coverage turned inward. Media analysts began critiquing the obsession itself. They noted how collective fascination had turned private loss into public theater. Yet, even these reflections only amplified her presence. By examining the overexposure, they extended it. Erica remained trapped in the paradox. Silence invited scrutiny, and speech only deepened it. Meanwhile, new documentaries appeared online. Fast-edited montages filled with dramatic narration and ominous music. They presented timelines linking Erica's past roles to current politics, annotated with red circles and arrows implying hidden connections. None offered evidence, but their production quality and suspenseful tone made them irresistible. Viewers weren't just watching content. They were participating in a hunt for meaning. Fact blended with fiction until the difference barely mattered. A few rational voices tried to intervene. Journalists and commentators reminded audiences that no verified proof tied Erica to any misconduct. They explained that grief manifests differently for everyone, that public composure doesn't equal deceit. But balanced arguments rarely go viral. The louder, more emotional narratives drowned them out. People wanted revelation, not reason. As weeks passed, Erica withdrew from public view. Her silence, once respectful, now seemed ominous. Some called it a smart strategy to let rumors fade. Others saw it as confession through omission. In the digital arena, absence is never neutral. It becomes evidence of whatever the crowd already believes. Gradually, attention shifted elsewhere. New scandals emerged. New faces became targets. But the damage was irreversible. Erica's name had been transformed into shorthand for manipulation and image control. Whether she had been victim or strategist no longer mattered. The narrative had consumed the person. The internet had written its own version of her life, and that version would outlast the truth. In the aftermath, a few cultural critics reflected on what her saga revealed. They saw in her story a portrait of a society addicted to judgment. A world where grief must be performed correctly, where every expression is data, and authenticity is measured by virality. Erica's experience became a cautionary tale about how the search for hidden meaning can destroy genuine emotion. Her case marked more than one woman's fall from grace. It symbolized a collective impulse to turn tragedy into content. The public had grown fluent in suspicion, mistaking constant analysis for understanding. What began as empathy ended as entertainment. When the frenzy finally subsided, fragments of her story continued to circulate. Clips, quotes, and theories echoing in digital corners. She had become an archetype, the woman who performed grief too well. But beneath the layers of speculation, one truth remained invisible to most. That Erica Kirk, real or imagined, was never in control of her story once the audience took it over. Her silence became her final statement, a mirror to the noise that surrounded her. And as the world moved on to its next obsession, her tale lingered as a warning that in the age of relentless scrutiny, perception isn't just reality, it's destiny.